Yes, good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Yes, more talk about football because we love talking about men that run around in shorts and kick some leather into some white posts. It's what we do, it's what we do best. Big up, good morning, Ben Kaufman, Kuva 99. How are we, chaps? How are we on this Tuesday morning?
It's really good to finally debut The Only Way is XG. It's going to be a great one. There's going to be loads of drama. Savva's going to walk into the local grocery store and debate random people. You shouldn't be getting oat milk. Let's break this down. This oat milk is better because of this wine. So you're never going to win a trophy because you only drink Oatly. I'm happy to have you. I'm going to have you. The Only Way is XG. Only on Football Heritage TV.
Love that, Kuva. I haven't even entitled this show The Only Way is XG. Ben's giving it all away. Yeah, we are calling this show every week now The Only Way is XG. Just a bit of fun. Kuva, how are you, sir? Haven't seen you since Sunday.
Yep, I haven't even flip-flopped since Sunday. I'm getting out of practice. I'm liking stuff at the moment. I'm still on a high from that win at United. It was great. Yeah. It's all going good. The only gripe I've got is you've rejected that beautifully crafted intro music I did for the show. All you have to do is bleep out a few words. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's listen, every now and then we'll bring it up. We can bring it up every now and then. It's I just thought that for a premiered video, it might be a little bit in your face.
Not that one. The other one.
Oh, the other one. Yes. No is the answer to that question. No. But listen. Between us all, we can sit down and write a creatively genius intro for all of our channels. Good morning to everybody watching. This is a premiered video, by the way. So when the question I always get is, how are you typing when talking? And they can see my hands. And it's like, this is a premiered video. So big up to each and every one of you.
It says it at the bottom of the screen, guys. It says it at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah. Premiere, not live. But we, listen, Kuva, we've definitely done this before. Ben, I've not done this before with you, but we dip in, Kuva, to the past. We go a little bit nostalgic. We have a little look back, a little walk down memory lane to look at some of the greats that have played for Tottenham. And listen, we've done it before where we've gone all the way back to Tottenham's existence. But today I've asked Ben and Kuva, and I've done it myself, to put together a 25-man squad plus 3 managers of their choice for Tottenham Hotspur between 1992 and 2004. And before people say I've cherry-picked a date, that's the date that the Premier League started. I haven't cherry-picked it. If I was going to cherry-pick it, I would have gone back to at least 1988 and got Glenn Hoddle and Gazza in there. So please, 88? 87 Hoddle? 88?
87 Hoddle, yeah.
87. There we go. So I haven't cherry-picked, and 2 of the best players that have ever played for the club don't fall into this category. The rules are simple. I've asked everybody to come up with 2 goalkeepers, 2 right-backs, 2 left-backs, 4 centre-backs, 4 central midfielders, 2 number 10s, 2 right wingers, 2 left wingers, 4 strikers. And I just know we're going to get loads of pedantic people in the chat going, oh, but he was more of a winger than a this, and he didn't play the 10, he played. We're going to go with it.
Subjective, isn't it, Savva? It's all subjective where you would put them.
Exactly. And it's all a laugh. And by the way, this squad's never going to play together. They're never going to play together. Guys, I'm going to start. I reckon it's probably important to start in goal. Just to mention, I've asked them to pick 3 managers. The 3 managers can be at your choice. What they don't know is that I'm going to give them literally this stream to think about is when we get to the end of this, I want you to pick 1 manager who you would have to actually manage the team, as opposed to maybe who was your best or favoritist manager, if that makes sense. I want to start. A lot of these I'm guessing will be similar, but the Ben Kaufman. Spurs have been very strong in many areas throughout the Premier League area. Not so much in other areas of the pitch.
Yeah.
Goalkeeper's one of those where I think it's been very hit and miss.
Pick your poison.
Give me one of your 2 goalkeepers. Just give me one of the 2 you would pick to going an all-time Premier League squad?
For basically longevity, you've got to pick World Cup winner Hugo Lloris. He was an excellent goalkeeper for us for many, many years. Kept us like reasonable because we did like his shot stopping over many years was sensational, and you really saw how badly as soon as he started to feel his age and he started to he can't do what he does anymore. You started to see the performances of the entire team start dropping off. But for many years, Hugo Lloris was absolutely phenomenal. Captain of France, won the World Cup. And it goes to show what you can do when you put a good team in front of him. He actually wins something. But probably I would win something in goal if I had Kylian Mbappe up front. But
there you go.
Hugo Lloris is one of my goalkeepers.
You've heard it here first. Ben Kaufman thinks he's as good as Hugo Lloris and should be in goal for Tottenham Hotspur. Kuva, can I just ask before I get? Have you also got Hugo Lloris?
Oh, I didn't think of him.
Have you also got Hugo Lloris?
Hugo Lloris. Yeah.
Okay, I have also got Hugo Lloris, so that we don't all go, oh my god, what's the suspense? Yeah, look, I mean, Kuva, Hugo was purely, I mean, longevity. He was part of all the teams that challenged for the league, that played Champions League final, Cup finals. He was a very good character around Tottenham, wasn't he, for a very long time, Hugo?
And yet he lacked some major characteristics that I would like to see in a goalkeeper, but he was still great. But he didn't dominate the area like I'd like to see. He wasn't physically big and intimidating. I'd also like to see. I don't think he was incredibly verbal. Also a characteristic I like to see in a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
But his cat-like reflexes and world-class saves over and over again, keeping us in games or winning us games. And the fact he adapted into a really good sweeper keeper. He just did us proud for a very long time, didn't he?
He did us Nuno, did he?
He did tail off towards the end, though. We know that.
Yeah. I think so, with a lot of Spurs players, we kind of... What's that quote from Batman? You know, where is it? If you live long enough...
You either die the hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yeah, that. I think that is what we have with a lot of players at Tottenham, where we keep them and keep them and keep them and keep them to the point where it's like, oh, you've tailed off. And but Kuva, I'll let you go then with we've all got Hugo Lloris. Who would be your? It doesn't have to be in a particular order. Who was the second goalkeeper that you picked throughout the last 30 years?
Well, I've got a second, and then I've got an honourable mention, but I'll go for the second one now. Pure bias, perhaps people might say, but Erik Thorstvedt, the Viking.
Me too.
That's my kind of goalkeeper. Big lump, laid back, dependable, booming voice. If he wants the ball, he's getting the ball.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who you are. He could silence the crowd. He was so loud when he shouted for it.
Yeah.
He had that famous debut on the telly against Nottingham Forest where he made a blunder with his first sort of serious save, and it went in, and thought, oh my God, have we signed another turkey here? But he went on to have a good game, and he just played a series of blinders for us. When we didn't have a particularly good team, he really stood out. I just think he's a fantastic player. Really confident in him all the time.
And I liked it. He was in the era where 6'3", 6'4" goalkeepers wore really tiny shorts that just made them look really silly. I've got him as well, Kuva. I thought Thorstvedt was he's almost what goalkeepers were meant to be, right? He was tall, he was athletic, he was powerful, he was loud, he commanded his box. And the last goalkeeper to win an FA Cup for Tottenham, right? So, he's, for me, he's got that legendary status. His son is now a player as well. Really, really good goalkeeper. Ben, did Thorstvedt make your number two, or
no,
maybe you don't go back that far?
I can't. Well, I was -3 when Thorstvedt played for Tottenham. So I've gone for another steady Eddie for us. Again, tailed off for the end of his Spurs career, but we signed him from Leeds United. It's Paul Robinson, the goalkeeper in the 2006 Carling Cup final.
That's my honourable mention as well.
Oh, really?
He was a top goalkeeper. He lost his confidence after that blunder for the England game, but when we really needed him in a final, when he was put in goal, he was absolutely class. The foot save at the end of the game to win us the trophy. I love Robbo. I absolutely loved him as a goalkeeper and grew up with him as the goalkeeper, really.
And he scored goals.
And he scored goals. Was a great goal scorer, he was.
I seem to remember, I want to say that it was around, I might even say it was Boxing Day. I might be making this up. I'm pretty sure.
Day. It was either Boxing Day or New Year's Day, but it was against Watford, and Ben Foster was in goal.
Yes, yeah. I could see it now, just all the way over, bounced over it. Yeah, I can see it. And I think Spurs won the game 4-0. I might be making that up, but if I have remembered that, then there's life in the old dog yet. Paul Robinson was a good steady Eddie. For me, his career kind of reminds me identical of Joe Hart. I'm not saying that because he was a Spurs keeper. It felt like both of them were at the top of their game. Both of them were revered England number ones. Then all of a sudden, it felt like that. They just fell off a cliff. But I liked Paul Robinson, good, solid goalkeeper. Any honourable mentions for the likes of Neil Sullivan, Casey Keller,
Brad Friedel.
Brad Friedel, Gomez.
Brad Friedel's an interesting one because he does the opposite of most keepers. As he got older, he just remained totally reliable. He was solid goalkeeper that he's confident in. Makes such a difference.
That kind of Mark Schwarzer mold of always there, always dependable. You know what you're going to get. And one I just want to give an honourable mention to, Ian Walker. I mean, beautiful man, lovely hair. He had the envious task of taking over Torsvet, if I remember, back in the day. I think was the succession, wasn't it, Kuva? It was Torsvet, Walker, and then kind of melded into Espen Bardson, stroke all of the others. We just
I like to call that the Baron years when it comes to goalkeeping.
The Baron years. But let's be fair. I mean, if I said to you, our squad now is going to be Hugo and Eric Torsvet as our two goalkeepers and Paul Robinson in there as the third, you're not complaining, right? We've had some decent goalkeepers, haven't we?
We have.
Kuva, let me start with you. This is one of the areas of the pitch where I think we've been the strongest, only in my opinion, Savva's humble opinion. Right back. And we'll get to left back afterwards, where I think it's not been our strongest. But right back, give me your first player that would go into an all-time Premier League Tottenham squad at right back. Is it the obvious?
This is one of the easiest picks on the entire list.
Yeah,
and I feel pretty confident we've all got the same player. Yeah, it's got to be Kyle Walker.
Yeah,
it's
best right back in the history of the Premier League.
When he was with us, I don't think he was that great technically. I don't think other skill levels were up there with players around him. But my God, the athleticism. The whole team was able to push forward deep into the opponent's half because we had him to recover. He was always going to have that insane burst of acceleration, bail us out of trouble all the time. Basically, Van der Ven but further back.
But for right back.
So it's just vital. And I hate to say it, but Pep improved him further when he went to City.
Walker always had a mistake in him, but Pep Guardiola has cut that out. He's cut out that mistake.
But even when you watch City now, even at the age of, what is he, 33, 34 now, when City have a dangerous free kick or a corner, Kyle Walker is the one that is relied upon to get back. And listen, he's getting a bit older now, but let's be fair, as a winger, I don't want to play against Kyle Walker. He's quick, he's powerful.
Now.
Yeah, so I mean, he was class, Kuva, but he's had a great career, that lad.
Certainly has. Deserved all the trophies all the medals he's got. So fair enough. Just pity he couldn't have done it more with us, really. But that's the way it goes. We saw, not for the first time, somebody that was destined to go on for greatness in our side.
Yeah,
you could see the obvious traits there.
Yeah, and let's be fair, if it wasn't for him being English, he might have had more trophies on the international front as well. But it all the English players get stopped in their tracks, don't they, in terms of international trophies? Ben, you had Cole Walker as well, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, Ben, who was your second right back on the list?
I'm going for someone that also has an amazing song, and it's obviously Stephen Carr, my lord. Stephen Carr, my lord.
Stephen Carr.
What a
yes.
song. But he was a proper right back. He was a proper good right back. I mean, you've got many options right there. Chorluka was very good for us for a couple of years. Yep. Solid. Kieran Trippier was very, very decent until Levy made him play an entire season injured. We've had some decent right backs, but I'm going Stephen Carr because he was a steady Eddie as well. Just had a bit of everything, just a solid footballer. I love Stephen Carr. Very, very good player for us.
Yeah, I mean, Kuva. Stephen Carr, for me, is one of the most underrated fullbacks of the Premier League era. I think he did his job. He loved the tackle. He was very much captain material. He did the kind of wing-back role of bombing down the line before it was fashionable to be a wing-back, right? And they were the two I had as well. Kuva, did you have Stephen Carr, my lord, or did you have someone else? He had Stephen Carr, my lord.
Yeah, had to be really attacking. Like you said, wing-back before it's really before it was the norm. There were players out there doing it. Funny enough, one that comes to mind is another one that used to play for us, but didn't really make his mark till he went to Norwich. Mark Bowen.
Oh, Mark Bowen, yeah.
Yeah, throughout time, there's always been Chrissy Houghton for us back in the 80s. He spent, there were games where he spent more time in the opposition box than in ours.
Good player, Chrissy Houghton.
Oh, fantastic player.
Really good player, Chrissy Houghton.
Yeah, but Stephen Carr was, at the time when a certain player left our club under a big cloud to go to our arch rivals. I remember, the Sol Campbell incident. I remember saying to people in the pub, other Spurs fans, and I said, you know what? I prefer he left than Stephen Carr did, because Stephen Carr was more about the sort of football we played. It was that on the front foot attacking style.
Yeah.
And I'm all for that sort of players. That's why I'm never too fussed when people say about, oh, well, look at our players out of position on the wings and things like that. I don't care about all that. Just get bombing forward attack. That's all I'm going to worry about. I don't celebrate
the 1-1-9 formation.
Exactly. What's a clean sheet? Oh, that doesn't interest me.
Stephen Carr wasn't part of the entertainers team, was he? He was just after that team. From what I remember, but Stephen Carr he had a great career at Newcastle as well. He was just a very good footballer.
Absolutely.
Stephen Carr was Newcastle, Birmingham. Obviously played for Ireland for many years. I mean, I'm just looking at it now.
Parts of that Aussie Ardelas team, we had players like David Kerslake back then. So
yeah. I mean, he started to really come into his own. His breakthrough season was 96-97, and then he left Tottenham in 2004, and then went to Newcastle United, and then went to Birmingham City.
He wasn't part of that team.
But he won.
I can't remember what I had for dinner.
He's a winner with us, right? I always want to praise the players that have won with us, because for me, they don't get enough mention. I think Stephen Carr, he won the League Cup with us in '99, the famous team with Ramon Vega and Sol Campbell at centre half. Alan Nilsson with the diving header. I'm sure everyone remembers Stefan Everson bustling his way down that right wing, deflected ball, bang, go on, Alan. I actually interviewed Alan Nilsson on here a couple of years ago. What a lovely guy he was. And you had the likes of Ginola and Justin Edinburgh in that team as well, Les Ferdinand. Good times, people. Honourable mentions. You mentioned it there, Ben. Vedran Chorluka, for me, and hear me out, guys. For me, I think he's one of the best defenders I've ever seen at Spurs, purely in defensive ability. Nothing really went past him. Problem with that guy, he couldn't run, could he?
Yeah.
He just couldn't run. But defensively, I don't think many left wingers had had an easy game against him because he was really, really strong in the tackle.
Yeah. If you're going to park the bus, he's like parking the minivan next to it.
Right. Yeah. I love that.
He's a very good footballer, really good captain material as well. Just a really calm voice at the back part of that clique we had with Nico Cranshaw and Modric. And that was just a really, just a great. I've met veteran Luca a few times because he lived in the local area. Just a nice guy, just a solid geezer to be a calming voice at the back. He was just a very good, decent player for us.
Yeah,
but yeah, he had no speed. He had no speed.
Absolutely. And then I suppose other honourable mentions, as you said, Kieran Trippier, who I don't think we ever saw the best of Kieran Trippier, that kind of crossover of playing understudy to Kyle Walker, then the whole thing of why did he leave, and he did that podcast, but damn those podcasters.
Yes.
But yeah, other than that, I don't think there's anyone that I would really go on. Dean Austin, I could say in the 90s did a really good job.
Certainly before his injury in particular. Yeah. Really aggressive tackler, and he got forward so well. He was really keen to join in with attacks. Yeah, my kind of player.
What, Dean Austin?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Dean Austin. I remember, obviously, as I was growing up, he was very much a part of the Spurs team between 1992 and 1998. By the way, I've got Wikipedia in front of me. I can't remember the date of every player off the top of my head. But yeah, let's move on to, so we're agreed so far. It's Lloris, Torjvet, Robinson in there. Walker and Carr have definitely got the right back sorted.
Yeah.
Ben, I'll go to you. This is one of the areas of the pitch where I don't think we've been blessed over the years. I think we've had some good players, but not anyone where you go, cool, you are class. Left back, Calf from the Calfy company.
It's easy, isn't it? It's Danny Rose. Danny Rose was brilliant under Pochettino, really good under Harry Redknapp as well, because Harry Redknapp gave him his debut. Yeah, Danny Rose was a stalwart for many, many years. Again, even up to the Champions League final, he lost his fitness. Started having a lot of his issues he had with the club, and top footballer for us. Him and Walker just bobbing down the wings. It's a shame we didn't have Carl Walker and Danny Rose under Harry Redknapp, because that would have been a laugh and a half. Just all those footballers just going forward and just doing that. And I love it. I love that style of footballer, bombing down the wing, arriving late, scoring goals. Yeah, Danny Rose.
Yeah, I mean, Kuva, Danny Rose, I mean, he was at the club for 13 seasons. I seem to remember when we bought him, because we bought him for about £1 million from Leeds or something, didn't we? Or I might be making that up, but
no, that's right.
It was at Leeds United. My understanding when he joined was that he wasn't really a left back. I believe he was a bit more of a left winger.
Yeah, he was.
But went to left back and then just made that position his own. Talk to me about Danny Rose, Kuva, and then let me know, first of all, did you have him? And second of all, who would your second have been? I'm guessing you had him.
Well, let's talk about him first. Explosive bit of pace he had on him at times. Really keen to get forward. I loved his aggression. I loved the way he could slam into like a 6'5" player, and he would just square up to him. He wasn't scared of anybody. I loved that. But attacking wise, perfect for what was needed for Pochettino. Those athletic players with loads of stamina to get up and down the wings all day long, put in crosses, create danger, get back when they can with their recovery pace. It was a great pairing. But he doesn't make my two.
Whoa!
This is where I knew Ben and I would start disagreeing, because I've got those extra years on Ben, and I remember seeing things in certain other players that are way before Ben's time.
Well, before you give one of your two, then it's very interesting, because I'm bringing up each player as we talk about them right on Wikipedia. And what I do notice about Danny Rose is, for someone who was here for 13 seasons, the number of games he actually played wasn't loads. And what I'm seeing here, his seasons, from his breakthrough season, he kind of had 11 Premier League appearances, then 22, 28, 24, 18, 10, 26-12. So either a mixture of injuries or form or whatever, he didn't quite. Do you know what I mean? He was a very good left back, but he didn't quite have that consistency of a Carl Walker, for example. So Kuva, give us your first left back. And Ben looks really upset by this. That you didn't pick him. He looks very upset.
This is the end of our tenure. Imagine that we've had arguments over Kit Kats and everything, and this is what ends it. Danny Rose.
No, let's caveat this. I still love Danny Rose. I really
no. The damage is done. No.
The damage is done.
Bollocks to you then. All right,
I'm going to get a chocolate bar now to celebrate.
I'm going to get a chocolate bar.
Okay, right. This is one that's going to test you a little bit. Maybe even you, Savva. I'm going to go for Maurizio Tirico.
Oh, what do you mean? Why on earth would that test my knowledge? Maurizio Tirico.
Not the knowledge, mate. It'll test you. Does he get in your team?
No, he doesn't. Kit Kats are brilliant. He doesn't get in my team, but if I'm off the top of my head, Maurizio Tirico.
Now I'm gonna Tirico. I think it was from Ipswich.
Could play right back and left back.
Yeah.
Yep, certainly could.
Absolute nutcase.
Yeah.
But now we get to the point where why I would have him in my team is his link-up play with Ginola. It was fantastic.
Now we're talking.
Ginola was able to be Ginola because he knew Tirico was behind him and would clear up any mess he left. He would plug the holes in. He did his job well. He did it aggressively. He got stuck in. He knew exactly what he was going to be doing. The little twos and throws with Ginola just to keep the game flowing and just have that responsibility. I thought he was spot on. And when you had, at the same time, you had Stephen Carr on the other flank. It was a brilliant pairing. One of my favourites ever. So I really rate him because of it. I remember those days. We did not have a great team, but we had parts of it that were superb.
Maurizio Tirico.
Yeah.
That's a wild card.
I didn't mind Maurizio Tirico at all. I thought he was a decent footballer. Lovely hair. I remember him coming from Ipswich, and he was just in that kind of he was just in that phase of just before we won the League Cup. So it was like just as Justin Edinburgh was coming to the end. Rest in peace, Justin Edinburgh. I'm sure we'll talk about him in a bit. And Tirico just started coming to the team, but he had wonderful chemistry with Ulala Ginola. So yeah, okay. So there's the first one. Let me, before I get your second one, then Kuva. Ben, who was your second? Left back?
You've just mentioned him, stalwart at the back for 10 years. It's Justin Edinburgh. It was a legend, just a calm. I've got a lot of steady Eddies in my team because those are the players that really make your team. And Justin Edinburgh just was one of those players that he was just a leader at the back, just a great footballer for Tottenham. Is sorely missed as well. You saw when he passed, the amount of people that just loved him because he was just an excellent footballer. Yeah, Justin Edinburgh for me. He's my second one.
Justin Edinburgh. I mean, I'll tell you my two in a minute. Kuva. Ben's gone for Danny Rose and Justin Edinburgh. You've gone for Maurizio Tirico. Who's your second left back?
It's not Edinburgh. Edinburgh again. I'd rate him. I'd loved him as a footballer. RIP as well.
Ben, do you hate Kuva right now? I do. I hate
I mean, the Kit Kats.
I'm going to go for one that Ben will probably say again. Oh, that's a wild card shout. I'm going to go for Benoit Assou-Ekotto.
The porn star.
Okay.
Benoit Assou-Ekotto.
Now, the thing is with him, when he first arrived, he wasn't all that. He really wasn't. He took a while to settle in. But when he did settle in, I suddenly thought, you know what? We've got a real player here. He joins in with everything. He gets stuck in, no fuss, does whatever he's asked. And then he comes out with these crazy comments like, I don't even really enjoy football. It's just a job.
Yeah.
And then he suddenly thought, wow, how can you say that? But then you watched him play and he thought, you know what? He's doing his job very well.
Yeah.
And he just fit in. He was dependable. He was always there. I just really rated him.
Nutty hair.
And do you know what? I think the fact that Benoit Assou-Ekotto admitted, I I don't really, who are you playing next weekend? I don't know. I don't care. It's a job. He treated football the way most of us normal fans treat our day jobs. It's a job. I get paid. But he was really integral to what Tottenham did, Kuva, because he was part of that era where we went in under Harry Redknapp into the Champions League, and I can picture him lining up now in those Champions League match day nights. I thought he was a really good footballer. I thought he was a
Champions League nights, and he's there in the lineup as it goes. The camera goes down. He's
yeah. He's
watch.
Not being interested in football. Him not being interested in football was a really good thing for that side because he was a professional. He added that professionalism to the team. I'm not there. I'm not gonna. If you want a play in a final, he's the sort of guy you need because he just doesn't care.
Yeah.
Doesn't care. He's not going to get phased. It's just another bit of the day job.
But he was a good player as well, technically on the ball. I thought he was a really good player. And I remember having him on the left, Shawluka on the right, with King and Dawson in the middle. Solid. I actually really liked the balance of that back four.
Yeah.
You'd have Dawson barking out orders. Benoit Asuakoto's like, I don't care, mate. This is just a job for me. Do you know what I mean? It was brilliant. Here's the two I went for. Here's the two. Now, hear me out.
Oh, no. You can't have Vertonghen at left back.
Hear me out. Hang on. Ben Kaufman, I quote from 31 minutes ago. It's subjective. It's where you see them playing.
I'm a flip-flop, mate.
Get off stage.
Get off.
I put Danny Rose in purely because, longevity. Loved his comments about Google. I thought that was brilliant as well.
Yeah.
But also because of the era that he played in, the team that he played in, the left-hand side wouldn't have worked without a Danny Rose to complement Walker on the right-hand side. I just thought it all worked. The reason I put Vertonghen in there is simple. I couldn't fit Vertonghen into my back four.
Come on. You slag. Right?
No, hang on. And Jan Vertonghen used to play left back for a lot of games for Spurs and for Ajax. And one of his best performances...
His best performance for Tottenham was at left back at Wembley against Borussia Dortmund.
There you go. That's what I was going to say, Borussia Dortmund. Look, for me, Vertonghen was too good to not get in my squad.
Yeah.
Right? But I've got four centre-backs that I think are better than Jan Vertonghen. So
you're getting a phone call from Brian Daigle after this. He's going to scream at you.
He's going to hate me even more. I haven't got Vertonghen anywhere.
Oh!
He's definitely coming to your house then, Kuva. You just have Daigle's going to come through the window.
I tell you what,
I didn't compromise like Savva did. I just stuck to this is a left back. This is the right back.
All right. Oh, I didn't compromise. Oh, I'm Kuva. I don't compromise. Really? I just flip-flop from this train to that train. Yeah. We know you, Kuva. But look, for me, if we get back to football, I just thought Vertonghen was just a wonderful defender. Yeah, whether it's left back, whether it's left centre back. I think he'd be sublime in this team now on the left-hand side. I think he'd play that role. I like a doggy, but I think Vertonghen would play that role on the left-hand side to an absolute T. But look, so we've got a mixture there of
defensive midfield as well. Any of them positions.
Yeah, class. But we've got a mixture of Danny Rose, Vertonghen. We've got Justin Edinburgh in there as well. Maurizio Tirico, Benoit Asuakoto, and an honourable mention for Justin Edinburgh, because Justin Edinburgh has got something over every other player that we're going to talk about. And I know this for a fact. He's got one thing. He's got one thing over every single player we're going to mention today. And do you know what it is? Something that none of the other players we can mention have got.
He's won 2 trophies.
He's won 2 trophies in the Premier League era at Tottenham Hotspur.
FA Cup
sorry. Since we won the FA Cup, he's the only player to have won 2 trophies at Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah.
Let that sink in. There are players at other clubs that win 5 trophies in a season. Justin Edinburgh's the only Tottenham player.
Why put him in the team?
It's only been 33 years. Have patience.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only been a third of a century. Yeah, let's come on, give it some time. Let's move to the back four now. I'm going to ask we'll talk about this player. I'm going to throw out a player that we've all got. We've all got him. If we haven't, I'm getting rid of people off the stream. Right, I'm going to throw a paddy. Ledley King, right? I think we've all got Ledley King in that. It's one of our 4 centre backs. Yeah,
just about.
Just about, guys. How bloody good was Ledley King as a footballer, and how lucky were we that he had injuries? Because for me, if he didn't have injuries, I could never see him being at Spurs for all those years. Ben, Ledley King
was so good. If he didn't have those injuries, he would have played for Pep Guardiola's Barcelona team. That's how good he was. He could have played alongside Puyol and Piqué. He was that good as a defender. The speed, the technical ability, the ability to get forward when he needed to. The aerial threat at corners. He got a couple of goals for us. Best one was against West Ham away. He scored a header there. Ledley King was just absolute. He's the only footballer I've actually got a picture of in my shop, and I keep him there every single day.
Ledley.
He was a genius. He was a genius.
He was. I mean, Kuva, let me change up the question for you with Ledley King. This is a man that didn't train for the last 5, 6, 7 years of his career, whatever. This is a man that could slot in and did slot in, even for England, into defensive midfield, and just looked the part. Like, there was none of this. Could he play it? He did. He just looked class. What did you make of Ledley King, Kuva?
Powerful, quick, elegant, good decisions on the ball, good decisions off the ball.
Yeah.
Amazing recovery tackles if he did happen to get out of position. Sutton Robin, he's still wondering what hit him at that point.
Yeah.
He's one of these players where I think any era you could have put him in any team in any era and thought, that's a good footballer.
Oh, class.
Yeah, just magnificent player. Total ambassador for the club and the sport. Speaks well of everybody as well. Commands respect from everybody. And same as a player going back even further. United used to have Paul McGrath. They eventually got rid of him, went to Villa. So another one of these players with crippling knee injury, couldn't train.
Yeah.
Couldn't train all week, turns up on a Saturday, man of the match, almost every time. Unbelievable players. There are natural talents you cannot teach players. They've just got it or they haven't. Ledley just had it. Fantastic. Love him to bits.
It's such a shame.
Impossible not to be an odd four. What he did, isn't it?
For me, he's the one. He is. That's why. I won't do that with any of the others. We'll go through them. But Ledley King, for me, I've just worked it out. He had 14 seasons at Tottenham, and he averaged 23 games a season in all competitions. And that's the shame of it. That he should have been a player like that without injuries. Averages 46, 50 games a season, and he was. He was so good. Like, when we look at defenders now in the Premier League, when we talk about the Ruben Diaz's, the Salibas, the Romeros, the Van der Vens, the Pau Torres, I look at King and he's just there. Like, these players are good, but he was so many levels above these players. The only one now that I would say in the Premier League that is on par with him, for me, is Virgil van Dijk. I think he's a monster.
I think Ledley King's a better footballer than him. I think Ledley King is a better footballer than Virgil.
Better footballer, yeah.
He's a better footballer.
For sure.
And we said it, I just said it, and none of you argued. If he didn't have injuries, he would be playing for Pep Guardiola's Barcelona team.
Yes.
He would have been, he would be on level with some of the greats in football.
Agreed.
That's how
good he was. You're overhyping him a bit, though. I mean, he didn't have a very good XG.
Well, let's have a look at Ledley. I mean, he got 14 goals. He averaged a goal a season. And And at one point, didn't he have the record for the quickest Premier League goal? I don't know if that's
right.
still stands.
He does, he still does, doesn't he?
Does he still?
I think he's still got it.
Hang
It
on.
may
Hang on.
have
All right.
been beaten recently, but
quickest
certainly
ever
did have it.
Premier League
Yeah.
goal. Shane Long apparently has that record. Shane Long.
That's with his only goal.
Yeah, with his first goal and last goal, Premier League. But look, Ledley King was just absolutely sensational. The fact that he rocked up at the weekend, there was that story. I can't remember it completely, but there was a story where he hadn't played for like 10 months. Harry Redknapp said it. He hadn't played for like 10 months. And Spurs had an injury crisis at centre-half. The Saturday, Ledley turns up to the stadium and he said, I need you to play. And he said, Gaffer, I've not played for 10 months. I've only started light jogging in training. You've got to play. I need you to play at centre-half. He played at centre-half, got man of the match. Spurs won the game 2 or 3-0. And it was like, then he had his knee in an oxygen chamber for the next month. But just class. Kuva, let me come to you. We've got Ledley King. You're allowed 3 others. I'll tell you what. Give me your 3, then I'll get Ben's 3, and then we'll see if they match up with my 3.
Ben's aren't going to match up with mine. That's for sure.
No.
I'm going to go in no particular order, but I'll start off with Toby Alderweireld.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ben, you got him as well?
I've got Toby Alderweireld, yeah.
I've got Toby as well, yep.
Yeah, I think his passing range on top of his defensive ability, that's what really stood him apart.
Class.
That long raking ball out to the wings, great weapon to have. Superb footballer, same as Jan. They work so well in that pairing. That's why it's so difficult for me to leave out Jan Vertonghen. But I had to, because you've got to get ruthless at some point. And there are 2 players I think were better, more prolific. Well, not even prolific. There's something about them that makes them stand out. The first is an all-time Spurs legend, Gary Mabbutt.
I've got Gary Mabbutt.
He had to be in there. Lionheart ambassador of the game again, playing through adversity with his battle with diabetes.
Yeah.
England caps, trophies, got the lot.
European trophy as well.
European trophy as well, yeah. And
the only player on this list with the European trophy.
Absolutely.
Because he was in that 84 team.
And a lion-hearted captain. Demanded respect right throughout the game, not just from our fans. Fans everywhere love this bloke. He had to be in there.
Yeah.
Then it's the one that people don't want to have in their teams, but if you're honest,
I've got him.
Yeah, Judas.
I've got him.
There is a reason he's so hated by our fans.
Yeah.
And that's because he was brilliant for us.
Duck for cover, Kuva. Duck for cover.
Absolutely brilliant for us.
Class.
I remember when Hoddle had him in the World Cup squad, and he had a goal disallowed because Alan Shearer was offside or pushed or something like that. Pushed the goalkeeper maybe. And in the what was that? That would have been against Brazil, I think, when we're down to 10 men. No, Argentina was it? I can't remember. Anyway, the point was he was up there. He was performing. He was performing both for club and country, and he was our most important player at the time. Team could have been built around him, and then he just went. You could argue that comes down to the club's lack of ambition or the chairman's fault. But the fact is he did go, he got hated for it. But while he was with us, my God, what a pairing we could have had. Sol Campbell and Ledley King.
And do you know what? I'm just looking now. Sol Campbell played 9 seasons at Tottenham. And all that was going through my head when you said that, Kuva, it was what we've seen with Sheringham. It's what we saw with Carrick. It's what we saw with Bale, Modric. It's that we had these world-class footballers in our midst and never built around them. We never built around them. It was like, I remember during those days, it was, we'd go to Spurs, not together, we'd go to Spurs, right? And it would be 9 average players, Sol Campbell and Ginola. Do you remember? It was like, don't worry, Sol will sort it out at the back. Ginola will do everything on the wing. And it's such a shame. Listen, listen, we're all grown-ups here, right? We can all sit here and say, oh, we hate Campbell and what he did was wrong. And of course it was. But Kuva, like I said to you on the WhatsApp last night, if Sol Campbell had the ability of an Anthony Gardner or an Alton Fulwell,
no
one would have cared that he went to Arsenal. The problem
wait, I'll disagree, mate. If he had the ability of an Anthony Gardner, I would have cheered him going to Arsenal.
But that's what I mean. That's what I mean. But Ben, so Kuva's gone with Alderweireld, King, Campbell, and Mabbott, which is not a bad four centre backs. Where do you differ? Because I know you've not got Solskjaer in there, have you?
He's not in my team. So I'm going with the best partnership I've seen in my years, which is Toby and Jan. They are the best partnership. We've not had they were both so good individually, but as a pair, they were fantastic. They had everything, and they were telepathic, those two. So you've got to put those two in as a centre-back pairing. And Gary Mabbott goes in there as well, because, again, stalwart defender. You can't ignore that. You can't ignore. I don't know when his first season, I think it was 1983, possibly his first season, Mabbott. All I know is he was there.
He's certainly there for the 83-84 season. So
he certainly was there. So
there you go. I will tell you, Ben. Gary Mabbott joined Tottenham Hotspur in he joined the year I was born. He joined Tottenham in 1982.
So you can't ignore that. 2 decades at the club, basically. 2 decades of being our stalwart footballer. That was the natural successor to Steve Perryman. The natural successor to Steve Perryman in that team. You can't ignore that. He's in. If he's not in your Tottenham team, you're lying. You're lying. Yeah. 2 decades. He would have played enough. If he wasn't taken out in that cup final, he would have played another few years.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to show this is the 4 that I had. And again, this was nothing against Jan Vertonghen. I know that for the emotional side, people go, "Oh, you got Sol Campbell," but Sol Campbell is one of the greatest 4 or 5 players to ever come through the Spurs academy.
Yeah.
Now, we hate it because of what he did, but you think for that decade, it was Sol Campbell. For the decade after, it was Ledley King. For the decade after that, it was Harry Kane. For this decade, maybe a Mikey Moore, right?
It's Brian Hill, mate.
No, but came through the academy, you nutter. But Sol Campbell, what he was, I mean, he was that good. What he did, we could park that conversation. As a player, him and King together would have been, I mean, that would have even trumped Alderweireld and Vertonghen. Those two together, I reckon Spurs would have kept clean sheets most weeks. They were that good. Alderweireld, for me, the difference, when people always talk about who was better, Alderweireld or Vertonghen, first of all, I don't think it matters. But it was when Alderweireld came, you just suddenly saw Jan settle as a player as well. You saw this almost this kind of, Toby's here. You know, like, thank God. Oh. And our defence for a couple of years was like the best in the Premier League and one of the best in Europe, if I remember. And that's why when people say now, like Romero, Van der Ven, are they as good as Alderweireld and Vertonghen? Not for me. Sorry, they might be one day.
Their boots.
But for me, they're nowhere near as good as footballers. Look, I just thought that partnership was amazing. But look, there we go, guys. That's the back 4. Guys, girls, so far we've got some very good players. We've had some great players in the Premier League era, haven't we? We really, really have. Let's go into midfield. Let's start. I asked for 4 midfielders as more traditional central midfielders, right? And then 2 number 10s. Because as the Premier League changed, so did the formations and so did, the kind of arc of what a playmaker was. Let's concentrate on the 4 midfielders. I'll start how I started last time. I'm just going to guess that every single one of us has got Luka Modric as one of our 4 central midfielders, right?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Ben, Luka Modric, I mean, when we had him, we knew he was good.
Yeah.
But he's gone on to be one of only 4 people in the last 17 years to have won a Ballon d'Or. And I believe that's Messi, Ronaldo, Modric, and I'm missing one who's won one recently.
Benzema.
and Benzema, right? Somebody might find a fifth, but how good was Luka Modric as a footballer?
My uncle, whenever I speak to my uncle about this, because we had two players that both went to Real Madrid, my uncle would say, we missed Gareth Bale, but we missed Modric more. He's like Rodri in this Man City team. He's like the center of a solar system. Everything revolves around him. Like the way he plays football, like Messi does in certain games as well, he could just stroll about the pitch doing absolutely nothing because everything revolves around him. He sees everything. He's
scanned it, didn't he?
He was just a genius. And you can see it now, at 39 years of age, and he's dominating games of football outside of the foot passes to win games of football. I think Modric might be the best midfielder ever. He could be. Trophies, performances, he could be. You can't argue with it. He's got a Ballon d'Or. He's got 5 Champions Leagues, multiple league titles, multiple Copa del Reys. You could say it's because he played in the best team. He made that team the best team because he was that good.
I love it as a debate for another day. Listen, I'm not knocking it. I think it's one of those where you go, hang on. Listen, there's been some top midfielders out, but yeah, Modric is just a joy to watch. He's one of those, Ben, where it all looks very simple.
Yeah.
And that's the genius of players that make it look simple. People go, they've always got time on the ball. Yeah, that doesn't happen by luck. You know what I mean? Like, genius of a footballer. I mean, Kuva, you've got Modric as well. Do you want to you can tell me about Modric if you want, and give me maybe one or two of your other 4 central midfielders that you put in there?
Not really much to add to that. Ben summed it up with Modric. Even if you don't agree that he's the greatest, one of the greatest midfielder ever, which people won't do, he is worthy of being in that conversation. That's for sure.
For sure,
because of that haul of trophies and the way he elevated his game even further from being what we saw as absolutely magical with us to go even better. The fact that he should have had international success as well. He deserved that.
The team just gave up, didn't they, Kuva? They were at the end of their tether, the likes of Perisic. Croatia always had 3 or 4 class players and then a sea of okay players. They've sort those,
but they still managed to get them up there into the final stages of competition.
Those 3, Modric, Perisic, and Rakitic as well. Rakitic was a class footballer as well. They dragged that entire team, and they just couldn't get on because they got players like Dejan Lovren in the team. They dragged that team to a final, hard-working. And this is a player that grew up in massive adversity. It's not like he had a pampered life. He had a horrible upbringing because of, we're not going political, but to go through what he's gone through and then to just do what he's done, he's a genius.
Well, he's got 180 Croatia caps.
Yeah.
He's been a World Cup runner-up, a World Cup 3rd place. So they've gone very close twice. He's won, looking here, sorry, just quickly, he's won 1, 2, 3, 4 La Ligas, 2 Copa del Reys, 5 Super Cups, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Champions Leagues, 5 UEFA Super Cups, 5 World Club Cups.
Come on,
is there anyone that's won the Champions League more than Luka Modric? Is there anyone that's won the Champions League more than him?
I was actually getting bored listening to that list being read off. It goes on for so long.
Hang on, sorry, just quickly. Which player has won the Champions League the most time? Players with the most, I think it's Dani Carvajal. Real Madrid pair, Dani Carvajal and Luka Modric moved on to 6 UEFA Champions League final wins after their victory. And that puts them 1 ahead of Benzema, Toni Kroos, and Cristiano Ronaldo. And then Gareth Bale all the way back down.
Carvajal's leaving at the end of the season, isn't he? Carvajal's going to Saudi at the end. So Modric could legitimately win another Champions League. That's how good he is at 39. Another Champions League.
He's just turned 39 in the last couple of weeks. He's still playing for Real Madrid, and they've kept him for 13 seasons. I mean, how often does a top player get 13 years, especially when they enter their mid-30s to late 30s? It's just what a pro, right? What a pro. Yeah. But anyway.
You occasionally see that sort of longevity when it's a central defender, for example.
Yes.
Or a goalkeeper. But outfield player, a midfielder especially, that's phenomenal. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely. Kuva, give me a couple of. You've got 4 to pick. Modric is one of them.
Well, there's an obvious one. I think will be in all of our teams. Begins with a D.
Yeah.
Well, let's do him first then. It's got to be Moussa Dembele. He's got to be in there. Just an absolute Rolls Royce of a player. Powerful, aggressive, impossible to knock off the ball. Brought the ball forward at will. No matter how many people around him, you could put a pass into him and he would take it and just do something with it. Drove the team forward, made the defense look better, made the attack look better. Just all round brilliant player. If he wasn't hampered by injuries, I think he would have been off to Madrid as well, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But, that is the kind of level we're talking about, and he shows it at national level as well. Just an all-round fantastic player. What can you say that's bad about him?
Yeah.
Everything that I wish we had now.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine him mopping up in this style of play we got now?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I just think he'd be sensational. And I think, Ben, the thing with Moussa Dembele, you've got him, I've got him as well. He's another one of those players that makes the game look very easy. You know, even in games where he doesn't stand out, he's doing all the difficult things really well, keeps a game ticking over, and effortlessly glided past players like they weren't there. Like he was sublime, wasn't he, old Moussa?
Yeah. I went and watched Spurs when we went up to the Allianz Stadium, Juventus, and I sat with the Juventus fans because I was given hospitality tickets, so I sat with the Juventus fans. Every single person was saying, we need to sign this guy. And when Juventus, and this is not just like normal Juventus fans, these are people that actually work for Juventus. And they're like, we've got to sign this guy.
Yeah.
It was like the world, again, there's another one. The world revolved around him when he played a football match. He was just that good. He's a phenomenal footballer. Possibly the best ever player to never win anything, because Harry Kane is going to win the title this year at Bayern Munich. So I think Moussa Dembele is up there. He's up there for the best. Some of the best players to know. Him and Letitia, a very similar mould.
He won the Eredivisie in 2008.
Oh, did he? Did he? Oh, so he's won more trophies than Harry Kane. So, yeah.
Ben, you've won more trophies than Harry Kane. What are you talking about?
No, I haven't.
You've won as many as him.
I suppose if you're going to go, you'd have to be hypercritical. But if you were to try and pick out something that he was disappointing with, perhaps he should have had more goals than he got. He had that kind of talent.
He could have done it, Kuv, but he was always defensive. He was always playing. If he was moved
and wrestling with injuries as well,
because he got that goal immediately under AVB when AVB would play him closer to the forwards, and he scored that goal. Oh, who did he score that? On his debut game, he scored that goal that went into the bottom corner. It was classy footballer.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Absolute class. And you've got to remember the team he played in as well. The attacking talent that got the goals in front of him, the Dele Allis, the Ericssons, the Sons, the Kanes. You know, he was. You're right. I mean, he was superb. And look, Ben, let me go to you. So we've got, all three of us have got Modric and Dembele. I reckon this is where we might see a bit of a. Kuva.
I guarantee I've got one that you two won't have picked.
Yeah.
All right, Tim Sherwood, you calm down. We'll talk about Tim Sherwood later. Huh?
You did have him.
I've got him. He's going to be my captain. What a player! No, Ben, give me one, not both. Give me one of your centre mids. Then you've got Modric and Dembele.
Yeah, a player we got rid of for only 16 million quid. Michael Carrick. One of the best midfielders in the history of the Premier League. He made I remember watching a breakdown of Mike. He was the best player in the world at plugging gaps. He would just stand and he would intercept the ball. He was a magnet. Unbelievable footballer, unbelievable football brain. And that's why Ferguson wanted him. That is the reason a manager like Sir Alex Ferguson wants you in their team to be the foil for Paul Scholes. Just a brilliant footballer.
Kuva, have you got him? Yeah. I mean, Kuva, I've just brought his details up, and I've gone on record a number of times as saying, for me, this is the most underrated player of the Premier League era. Not at Spurs, in the Premier League era. This guy, for me, never gets the credit that's due. And then when you listen to this, Kuva, Michael Carrick played 12 seasons for Man United in centre mid. Now, we're not talking about Man United how we know them now, right? This guy played 12 seasons for Man United. During that time, he played 464 times, right? During that time, for Man United, he won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Premier Leagues, 1 FA Cup, 3 League Cups, 6 Charity Shields, the Champions League, the Europa League, and the FIFA World Cup. He was in the PFA Team of the Year twice, and he was the Man United Player of the Year once. For me, I'm going to say this, Man United fans might disagree. The demise of Man United was when Michael Carrick came out of that central midfield, because for me, that is the guy. For me, when we talk about who do you want to play in that 6 and that controlling the game, give me Michael Carrick in this Spurs team now. Class, oozed class. I love him. Sorry, Kuva. What do you make of Carrick?
I've got to agree. I agree with absolutely all of that.
Yeah,
absolutely quality footballer. The same as you look at for a central defender, you think Rio Ferdinand. He had that oozing class about him. It's just made it look easy. Glides with the ball, does simple things, makes it look so easy, even when it isn't. Eye for a pass, knew his position, knew and had an eye for danger. As Ben said, he just magnet for the ball. He was always there, at the heart of everything. Alex Ferguson knew that. It's kind of stealthily building a team around him. That's what it felt like. Because he was basically pulling the strings. Very underrated. Yeah, I agree. They don't always get the credit when they're doing the simple things at the back there. Busquets at Barcelona. He's not the one that gets all the headlines. He never would be.
For me, he's in that conversation with Modric as one of the greatest midfielders to ever play was Busquets. But I think the thing is with Michael Carrick as well, Kuva, is to have that longevity for Man United, and again for younger fans watching now, we're not talking about this Man United. We're talking about a Man United that won leagues, Champions Leagues. We're talking about a Man United that had Rooney, Tevez, Ronaldo all in the team. We're talking about Man United that had Paul Scholes, Rio Ferdinand, Vidic, Evra. We're talking about top Man United teams. And Michael Carrick, for me, the biggest shame and the biggest waste of England, of any international team, is that Spain would have built a team around Michael Carrick. England couldn't see past Gerrard and Lampard as a 2, even though it didn't work. No one said, you know what we should do? Let's put Michael Carrick at the base and have those 2 off of him. That, for me, is
or even better, Savva, have Scholes and Carrick that played well for Man United together and played them 2 together when they already played together and put Gerrard in front of them.
The same happened with Glenn Hoddle, didn't it?
Yes.
Didn't have anywhere near enough caps for England.
Yeah.
Fantastic player. Funny enough, when I knew Carrick would come up, because I knew Savva would definitely have him in his one of his picks. It kind of leads on to my last pick as well, because I'm picking, if we can go there now. My last pick is the player that I saw as being Michael Carrick before Michael Carrick was around. You have to go back a little bit further. And I'll give you a clue, he's Romanian.
Oh, class. Chica Popescu.
Yeah.
Does
all of those things we just talked about with Carrick. had to go on the Barcelona did though it, but we had him in our team, and people don't understand that. First of all, he defended. He knew how to stop attacks. He was
brilliant.
Very good at it. But then you layer on top of that those classy levels of passing and awareness and bringing other players into the game, gliding with the ball, making things look easy. Absolutely top quality player. And we got rid of him just like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose if Barcelona comes calling and you're a G Cup, you want to go. But the rest tells its own story.
£3 million was a lot of money in those days as well, Kuva.
Yeah,
£3 million was a lot of money.
It was worth every penny, though. Well, brilliant player.
I mean, look, Popescu. I remember it so well. He came at the same time as Ili Dumitrescu, didn't he?
Yeah.
Right.
And it was off the back of Romania having that really good 1994 World Cup in the USA. Yeah. If I'm not wrong, it was when a lot of them were doing the kind of blonde hair thing and blah blah blah. But Popescu and Dumitrescu were brilliant, and it's such a shame. I'm looking at his. I'm looking at him now, and the shame for it was that we only got him for 1 year, and again, it was one of those where he had to leave. Right, Barcelona came calling, and I believe that he had trouble settling in London. But what a top footballer, Kuva. So your four, Kuva, are Modric, Dembele, Carrick, and Popescu.
Yeah.
Ben Kaufman, would you like to give me you've got Modric, Dembele, and Carrick.
Yeah.
Would you like to give me your fourth?
My fourth one is building off what I said about Toby and Jan. This player was the reason Dembele could do what he could do, and it's Victor Wanyama. I think Victor Wanyama was an absolute monster for 2 years. If he didn't get his injuries, him and Dembele was just a brick wall. That's why we had such a good defence, because when Toby and Jan would go forward, Wanyama would drop into that centre-back role and he was totally comfortable. Good on the ball as well. Did simple passes, moved it to Wanyama was a top footballer. He's a top
I agree. I'll add to that as well. Before we got him and he was playing at Southampton, I remember them playing against Arsenal. And I remember laughing out loud and saying to some of my friends, Wanyama's just shut Arsenal down. He literally did. Single-handedly stop their very talented midfield from playing football.
He shut down Messi's Barcelona.
Yeah.
Messi's Barcelona. He beat them.
Do you know what? Him and Dembele, for me, they were both, I always say this a lot these days, they were both men. They were powerful men. I watch a lot of midfielders now and they're very lightweight and good but these were very good with the ball, but men, powerful, good runners. For me, Wanyama, I've put him, by the way, I've got an honourable mention list at the end. Wanyama made my honourable mention list. For me, he was kind of like Palacios. And when I say that, Wilson Palacios, for me, listen, I'm not saying one of the greatest midfielders we've had, but when Palacios joined, the job he did for us to take us from bottom of the table to let's just get some solidity into that midfield and be hard to beat was absolutely brilliant.
It's all started with that one player, the position's named after, isn't it? The Makaleli position.
Oh, the Makaleli. Yeah, absolutely. Class act. Guys, my fourth midfielder wasn't the same as yours. My fourth was listen, again, you could say, hang on, we had him for a season and a half, right? And you could say that it's unfair because there are players who have had more games than him. But just watching him play in a Spurs shirt
was a joy.
You just saw, even at the end of his career, you saw you're a proper. I'll talk like the kids. You're a baller. You know what I mean? Like
he was that era of Mavericks. He was one of the I miss football when it was full of Mavericks. The Seedorfs, the Davids. Like Davids is just a legend just because of the glasses and the dreadlocks. Just unbelievable that. And then he would just batter you. He was a proper footballer.
Just ridiculous. One thing's for Ajax. Back in the day when Ajax were one of the best teams in the world. Then when Juventus, Inter Milan, You know, he got close a few times with the Netherlands. Individually, he kept making all-star teams of the year. And I remember when growing up, when playing like Pro Evolution Soccer or FIFA when I was a kid, you wanted Edgar Davids in your midfield because he didn't lose the ball. He was just so class. But some honourable mentions in midfield. We've had Wanyama. We've had Popescu, Palacios. For me, an honourable mention. I want to put Alan Nilsson in there.
Yeah.
He won us a trophy.
Nico Cranshaw.
Yeah, he's in my honourable mentions for the number 10s. But yeah. Nico as well. Are we missing anyone? Have we had? I mean, Scotty Parker for me. I think was a really solid.
It was tough to leave Scotty Parker out, but I put Wanyama over him.
There's several that have done good jobs, but not quite up there with the others. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's the area of the pitch at the moment where for the last 4 or 5 years, I don't think we've had a top centre mid. Do you know what I mean? Real, every game is an 8 out of 10. Every game you go, you can play. You know, I don't think we've had that. But guys, I'm going to move into the number 10 position. So whether or not these guys could play in central midfield as well, but we're talking about the traditional number 10, plays in the hole, scores goals, assists, playmaker, maverick. I reckon we're all going to have the same 2. I do. But we'll start with Kuva because Kuva's the kind of left field type guy here.
Actually, there's one I thought you two might have that I might not, but he's kind of I don't know where to put him. I don't know where to put him, sort of player. Got to give a mention to Dele Alli.
Oof. He didn't even make my honourable mentions.
No, he doesn't mine either, but he's you know what I mean? You can't quite dismiss him.
Is he one of your 2?
No.
No. Sorry.
No. I'm going to go straight off with one of my favourite players ever to pull on a Spurs shirt.
Is he Dutch?
That's Van der Vaart.
Yeah.
He just, everything about football is in him. I love this bloke to bits. The banter, the celebration with the fans, the connection.
Yeah.
Goals flying in, wonderful bits of skill, unpredictable, utter maverick. And just, how can you not love him? You know when we're talking about it's crazy. Like as blokes, we get the man crush when it turns to football. You just absolutely adore some players.
He looked like a bloke because he was a bit portly, Van der Vaart, because it was sort of the end of his career. He looked like a normal bloke running about, but he was everywhere. He was at the back. He was at the top. He was on the left. He was
Gascoigne vibe, wasn't it? Yeah.
He was everywhere. I remember speaking with Mr. Capello because we would go and sit with Mr. Capello at England games when he was the manager. I was like, we've signed Raphael Van der Vaart because he knew I supported Tottenham. We used to talk football all the time. And he just went, good player. That's all we need to say. Good player.
Good player.
Good player. And you're like, this guy's
got it, didn't he? He got it. Like, he got...
Yeah.
And again, this was levelled at Ange, wasn't it? About not understanding the Tottenham Arsenal thing. Van der Vaart got it. Like, I remember in the North London derbies, Van der Vaart looked like somebody had gone backstage, wound him up like those old toys that used to wind, and they just went go. Goals, aura. I don't know if we can say that as a quality. The aura of the man when he joined Tottenham Hotspur was and that created, if you remember, the fallacy that was Levy time. Purely, that one signing created Levy time.
In fact, signing him makes me think, big up Levy, did pretty good job after all.
Yeah. Let's keep Levy in for getting Van der Vaart. But I thought the perfect manager for him to play with as well was Harry Redknapp. Like I just thought it all worked. And we've all got Van der Vaart, right?
Yeah, we've all got him.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm gonna go. I want to go to Kuva. I'll start with Kuva again. Sorry, Ben, because I feel like Kuva's gonna have a left field answer. One more number 10.
I don't think I'll have a left field one here. I think there's a good chance of you both having him as well. It's got to be Christian Eriksen.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. I thought you said you'd picked someone that we might not have.
No, there was. Yeah, it was possible that you might have left Ericsson out for somebody else. I thought.
No. Class.
I was thinking Dele Alli, because prime Dele Alli banging all those goals in was something that might make you think of him. I would have conceded that, but
I didn't even think of Dele Alli when putting this together.
Ericsson was the glue. The moment Ericsson fell out of the team, the whole team fell out. He was that good a footballer. He glued that front four together. The Sonny, the Harry, the Dele, Ericsson. That four going forward was brilliant to watch. All going in and out of each other's positions. When Sonny would go central, Ericsson would come out left. When Dele went right, he went. He was a footballer. He knew exactly where to be at the right time. He was top for us. He was we could do with an Ericsson type footballer now, just to glue everything together. Just a brilliant footballer.
I mean, Kuva, he was £11 million, and he almost saved that window. You know, it was the Gareth Bale's gone. What are we doing with the 7? And I mean, first of all, it's a shame that he never got to play with Bale. But Ericsson was absolutely. Listen, people could talk about his last year when we've seen behind the scenes he wanted to go, but Levy wouldn't let him and wanted him to run down. But for 7 seasons, this guy the volume of goals, Kuva, the volume of assists, his passing range. He was a joy to watch, wasn't he, Christian Eriksen, at that time?
Absolutely. I've always maintained it. I know you think the same way, Savva. When it comes to picking a team, pick 11 players that are intelligent, have technical ability, and a little bit of flair or imagination to their game. That was him to a T. Had all of those. People levelled at him. Oh, he doesn't get stuck in. Why doesn't he tackle? You looked at the way we pressed back in those days. His role was integral. It wasn't to actually make the crunching challenge or somebody. It was to just stand there blocking off one route of passing and be there to receive the ball when we won it back. And he did that time and time again. Then people start going on about his running statistics, how much ground he'd cover over again. Yeah, of course he would. He wants to go and get the ball. That was his role. But my God, could he use it? He had a great understanding with players around him and just made us look so much better. The only other criticisms I've heard levelled at him is in some of the big games where he might go missing a little bit, but you look at the rest of the team, they all did. So I just think we looked so good with him in that side. Absolutely made the Pochettino era, along with Kane. So many players were just genuinely good in that side. Really good.
And you think he was one of the ones in a long list of players that left Tottenham and then immediately started winning trophies. So if we did that squad,
perfect manager, didn't he? Antonio Conte wanted to win a title.
I mean, and even then, look at Man United. Look at Man United. He's won 2 trophies at Man United. I mean, and I actually thought. Listen, I thought the other day when he came on, I thought Man United looked better when Christian Eriksen came on because he's changed. His style of play has changed now. He's not that diminutive number 10. He sits in that midfield. He controls the ball. He scans the pitch, and his passing range is fantastic. And look, obviously, what he went through with the whole kind of heart problem and stuff. What a footballer! I think he's had a great career. A really good footballer. Look, let's move on. Honourable mentions. I suppose you could put Dele Alli in there.
Dele Alli's that awkward one, though, isn't he? Because if you say false 9, he's not really a 10. He's not really a striker.
Yeah, that's why I didn't have any room for him anywhere in my squad, Dele Alli, because I didn't actually think and hear me out, I didn't think as a footballer he was that great. What his function in the team was, he was brilliant at ghosting into the box, scoring goals. I just thought that when Jose put him into centre mid, do you remember, for that period of time, I really saw a guy struggle with mobility, passing range. I just didn't think. But listen, he had good times.
It was a boring role for him. That's why.
It was a boring role for him. I just don't think
unfortunately, it's one to aim at Pochettino. He took when he got sent off in the Champions League, he told him not to get sent off again. That was all Dele Alli did. He was flying into tackles, flying into people's faces, getting up, scoring goals against Chelsea, and then going up to their fans and doing that. He was the archetypal antagonist. When a team booed him, he became twice the footballer. He loved being hated.
It just went, didn't it? That spark, his love for football, all the problems. It's such a shame seeing what's happened to him. And even then, he did that interview, didn't he, about a year ago? Yeah. And everyone's thinking, right, he's going to be back soon. And even then now, like, he's nowhere to be seen. But listen, let's hope all the best for him.
He needs the right manager. He needs the right manager.
He really does. For me, he needs to go to a championship team, right? And I'm not belittling him. I think he needs to go to a championship team where he's going to get a lot of goals, build up confidence, a manager that puts his arm around him, and lets him play. Guys, do we want to start with the right or the left wing?
Go for the right first, because I reckon
we're going to go for the right wing. Okay, perfect.
Slim pickings compared to the left.
Yes, now right wing
here.
Right wing is one of those areas where I said to you both last night, didn't I? We didn't tell each other who we had, but I said I just feel like that's the one area where Spurs have never had a top. We've had good players, but never a breathtaking right winger to the level that we've had on the left.
It's again because my guy is Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale, for me, was at his best at Tottenham when he was on the right wing, cutting in, smashing balls every 2 minutes. Every last minute of the game, he needed a goal. Gareth Bale, right wing, left foot, bang, top corner. Last minute of the game, 2 free kicks versus Leon, just banging goals in. Like 5 games in a row, he scored like 30-yard screamer or something stupid.
I'm happy to be corrected, but I don't really remember him playing off the right. I remember him floating everywhere and being everywhere on the pitch. I don't really remember him starting the game on the right and spending a lot of time out there. I don't know if that's just me.
Under AVB, he spent a lot of time on the right. Under AVB, he spent time on the right.
See, I'm happy to be corrected. I just seem to remember him being a lot more in that kind of, not the number 10 role, but just...
He would definitely be about there, but it's one of those players we had that he could do that, and that was Carl Walker. Because Carl Walker would bomb down that right wing, and that would draw that player away, and then Gareth Bale would have that space to drift in centre to score the goals like he scored against West Brom, that goal that went like that, or the goal that when Jan Vertonghen was against Swansea, he put that through ball in and Bale outside of the foot. I think those two.
I'm not doubting Gareth Bale's ability is definitely not the subject of this debate in any way.
But for me, Gareth Bale was a right winger, and he did his best stuff at Madrid on the right wing as well, because he couldn't play on the left because Ronaldo played there, and he couldn't play in the number 10 because they had Benzema, and they who did they have? They obviously had Modric, they had Kroos. For me, Bale was on the right wing.
Yeah, look, I haven't put Bale onto one of my 2 right-sided players. Kuva, have you put Bale there? And if not, can you give me your first right-sided player? Why did you put Bale on the right?
I just think he was more prolific on the other wing. That's all.
Fine.
I think when Ben's saying he went over onto the right wing, I'd see what Ben's getting at, but I think at that point they just said to Bale, look, just get yourself on the ball. Go and find it wherever it is.
Difficult.
Kind of more of a free role. Kind of like Letitia got at Southampton as well. He just knew he had to get him on the ball. So unshackled, fantastic player. But for me, he's left wing. I will get onto that when we're talking about him specifically. Actual players for the right wing position, though, I struggled with this. I went for one I know you will definitely have in there, Sav. And I went for one I know Ben will definitely have in there. So let's go for the one I think Ben will definitely have in there. Aaron Lennon.
No.
Really?
No.
I've not got Aaron Lennon there either.
I would have thought he'd be the sort of more modern era one.
I love Aaron Lennon, but
actually,
I can't put him over my second guy. I can't.
If you didn't have Bale in there, though, would there have been room for Lennon?
Yes, if I didn't have Bale in there.
There we go. That's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
The problem is the 2 people I've put above Aaron Lennon are, I think, two of the greatest players to ever play for the club. Which is
Right. So before we continue with Kuva, then I need this in my life, Ben. That's a huge statement. I need this in my life. Bale is one of your two. Who's the other one then that are the greatest players to have played for Spurs?
Darren Anderson.
I've got Darren.
Your one.
I've got Darren Anderson. I've definitely got Darren Anderson on the right.
So have I.
Okay, so we've all got Darren.
Yeah.
Right. Ben's gone for Bale. Kuva's gone for
Lennon.
I've shoehorned in here. Sorry, he doesn't play there at all. He doesn't. Yeah. This is shameless. This is absolutely shameless.
It's going to be Harry Kane, isn't it?
I've put Heung-Min Son on there.
He could play on the right.
Kuva, it was that, or he didn't make my 25-man squad.
He doesn't make mine either.
Huh?
He doesn't make mine. I can't fit it.
Sonny doesn't make your squad.
Look, I've got on the left wing Bale and Ginola.
Oh, hang on. We're not there yet. Okay.
It's all falling apart.
Do you know what? Maybe this was half of me thinking, let's be brutally honest, I have got Bale and Ginola as my two left-sided players as well, Kuva, of course. But I sat there and thought to myself, if I don't put Son, I'm just going to have loads of abuse for weeks and weeks and weeks. But for me, I think he could do the same job that he does on the left, on the right. For me, I think you've got to find a space for it. I had to find a space for Son purely because of the volume of goals he scored for the club. Yeah. He's nowhere near any one of the best four strikers that I've picked. He's nowhere near Ginola or Bale. So I went, all right wing, I've got no outstanding candidates.
Oh, in that case, I'm going to put Bale.
That's why I dropped Lennon out my team, because I'm not going to put Lennon over Bale. I'm not going to put Lennon over Ginola. I'm not going to put Lennon over Anderson, and I'm not going to put him over Ginola. That's why Aaron Lennon dropped out my 5.
Can I put Kane in goal to free up one of my striker spots?
Listen,
you could, Kuva, because he played there. It's not like Savva's team.
Glenn Hoddle,
Savva's team where he
I think Glenn Hoddle played in goal for us 4 times. Yeah, I think Glenn Hoddle played in goal for us 4 times and never conceded a goal.
Look, I was just finding a space for Son because Sonny, for me, as you know, I think Sonny is a ruthless finisher. Yeah. I don't think he's anywhere near the level of the two we're going to talk about in a minute on the left. And by the way, when I say nowhere near the level, I'm not mixing my words. I don't think he's anywhere near the level of those two that played on the left. Sorry. On the right, I was happy to put him on the right as a forward. It's difficult, right? Because for the first sort of 15, 20 years of the Premier League, you didn't have wide forwards, you had wingers, right? So it was quite difficult. Then it started to mould more into the one up top and the 2 wide men. For me, I'll have Sonny as part of that front 3 on the right. But for me, I'd still pick Anderton on the right over him because I thought Darren Anderton was... I don't ever think gets enough credit for what a good footballer he was. What a good
longevity of games he played for us, Savva. The longevity, he's one of our top appearance holders.
I think, do you know there's only one better than him?
And it's Sonny. Mabert.
Premier League.
Oh,
Premier League. The only one. He was it was the very first person we picked. It was Hugo Lloris. Yeah. He's the only one to have more Premier League appearances than Darren Anderson. So for someone that's called sick note, but look, let's focus on the good. He scored some wonderful goals.
Yeah.
I thought his ability to play on the right, in the middle, his intelligence, his passing.
Set pieces.
Yeah.
His partnership with Sheringham.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. So I've gone with Son and Anderson. Kuva's gone with Lennon and
Anderson,
and you've gone with Anderson and
Bale and Anderson
and Gareth Bale. All right,
and I think you're both cheating.
Oh, we didn't cheat. Listen, all right. I'll tell you what. I'll remove Son completely and see the utter meltdown
I have. I'm taking it. He just didn't make the cut on my left wing role.
Fair enough. Okay, Kuva, we could talk about Ginola and Bale in a minute. Ben, I'm thoroughly guessing that you've put David Ginola in there, and I'm guessing that your left-sided player, the one, is going to be Heung-Min Son. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I put Son Heung-min in there because I absolutely... Sonny gives me the same vibe that Ronaldinho used to give me as a kid. Always smiling, always not the same player ability, but always he makes you happy. He makes you happy to watch football. When Sonny's got a smile on his face, you're happy. It's a similar thing that I had with Ronaldinho in 2000. Always smile on his face. Makes the game look so much fun. So it's David Ginola and Son Heung-min are my two.
For a minute there, I'll say Sonny's as good as Ronaldinho. I was like,
whoa. Words, Savva, words. He makes me happy to watch football when he smiles. Everyone loves him. He is Mr. Tottenham. Mr. Tottenham.
Let's talk Son. Then. Yeah, you're right. Listen, Son has been... I mean, look, there's two ways of looking at it, Kuva. He's been incredibly loyal, or a big enough bid or no bid has actually come in to take him away from Spurs. Whichever way you look at it, he's been at Spurs for a very long time. He scored goals. He formed a wonderful partnership with Harry Kane for many, many years. I always find it's a little bit of a false narrative. When people say, the best partnership the Premier League's seen, that always, for me, comes down to longevity versus the best, if that makes sense. I'm not knocking them, but the longevity they had together would have been more than the longevity Gerrard and Torres had together. Drogba and Lamp, do you know what I mean? So, but I mean, Sonny's been a great, been a wonderful ambassador for Tottenham, scores goals. For me, I think he's tailed off. I don't think he's as scary as he was. He's another one for me that I think we're going to keep way too long past the point of remembering him as a great player. But what's your opinions on Son, Kuva, considering that, and why doesn't he make your 25-man Tottenham squad?
That's just overrated rubbish, isn't he?
Love it.
No, of course. Absolutely love the bloke. All the reasons Ben said. It's a feel-good factor with the bloke. He is a lethal finisher. There is no doubt about it. If, as far as I'm concerned, if you got him in your squad, you've got to find ways to just get him on the ball in and around the edge of the penalty area.
Agreed.
Let him do the rest. It doesn't always fit with what we're trying to do as tactically with the team. Sometimes it's difficult to fit him in at all. Is he a lone striker? Can't do that role. Is he a pure left winger? I don't see him as a traditional left winger. He's that left-sided attacker. Again, I have the same problems I did with Dele Alli. Which position is he really playing?
Yeah.
I kind of want him there.
He's a player you have as your X factor. Always going to be there. But that is the problem with this Tottenham team. We don't shoot outside the box. If we shoot outside the box, that suits Son Heung-min to a T. Get the ball outside the D, whip it in the top corner. It's what Sonny does.
This is why I end up with the problem, though, of I've picked Aaron Lennon because he is a right winger, but I can't fit Sonny in because I don't see him as a right winger. But Sonny's a way better player than Lennon.
Yeah. I think the thing with me with Son is I've never thought Son's the best footballer. And what I mean by that is, for example, it's easy to use Kane as the example because they played together so long. Kane's somebody that I think could play centre mid, number 10. I think he could almost float out wide if he wanted to. He can go up front.
He could play centre back if he wanted to.
He's just a very good footballer, ball at his feet. He sees the game, he dictates. I see Son as the complete opposite to this. I see Son as the explosive one. Son, for me, was your moments player. He was the one where, when I want Kane to calm it down, I want Son to speed it up, if that makes sense. And I think that's why they work so brilliantly together. For me, I don't think Son has looked anywhere near as good. Yes, he scored goals last year. I just don't think he's looked anywhere near as good at Spurs since Harry Kane left. In terms of, I don't think his link-up play is brilliant. But for what he did, for what he does, he is ruthless. When he's through on goal, 9 times out of 10, you back Sonny to score a goal. And my big question mark for Son has always been, why has no one bigger ever gone, let's get him to Madrid. Let's get him to Barcelona. let's get him to match. Do you know what I mean? That's my one big question.
It's mostly because of money, Savva. It's mostly money.
Possibly.
Because at the era where Sonny was at his peak, Barcelona have gone bankrupt. Real Madrid are looking to bring in younger players like the Vinicius Juniors and the Rodrigos to make their left wingers. True. I think Liverpool already had their left winger in Sadio Mane. They didn't need a son. Chelsea have tailed off, which is why they went for...
Yeah, true.
A lot of the teams that would have needed a Sonny have run out of money to buy a Sonny. If Liverpool didn't have a Sadio Mane, you know, Jurgen Klopp absolutely adored Sonny. If he didn't have a Sadio Mane, Klopp would have had him, and that's just the bottom line for me, because he would have brought him. He would have bought him if he didn't have a Sadio Mane. Because how much did Sadio Mane cost Liverpool? 30 million quid. Sonny cost you. I've always said this: as good as a player Harry Kane is, Son Heung-min is double the value of him because of what he brings off the pitch as well as on the pitch.
Yeah.
Sonny was a £200 million player just because of who he is.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, guys, look, let's. I think we've got to. Look, Ginola and Bale for me. When I picked this 25-man squad and I wrote it down, I didn't even start at the back. I just went Ginola, Bale. They were the first two I whacked in. If I'm going to be brutally honest, before Kane, before Modric, I literally went Ginola, Bale. I think anyone who watches this show, anyone who's watched me over the years, knows what I think of David Ginola. I just thought Ginola was everything you pay to go and watch football for.
Yeah. So, again, it's like Ronaldinho factor as well. It's a joy to watch. It makes you smile. It makes you smile. It makes you happy just to watch them. Another one of the last of the Mavericks, the shirt coming off against Barnsley, and he's got the vest on, and he just goes through players like just old school Maverickal footballer.
Kuva. I mean, this guy, you know, strong, brilliant footwork, brilliant skill, first touch. And he, you know, when I was doing my coaching badges many years ago, one of the things that we was always taught was to watch out for a good player was, what does their first touch do? It's all well and good killing a ball stone dead, but does that killing the ball stone dead, is it right at your feet, or has he killed it stone dead, ready to play the next pass? And Ginola was sensational. He'd bring it down, he knew where to go. He could drop a shoulder like no other winger I've seen. He scored phenomenal goals. And the one thing I'll say is, when a lot of people in this era, the younger fans go, oh, but his goals and assists, I don't think they quite understand the difference between the formations that Ginola played in versus how we play with wide men now. I mean, he was just breathtaking to watch, wasn't he, Kuva?
Yeah, he's all right.
Yeah. Okay. He's no Timo Werner, but, you know.
He's no Andy Sinton.
No Andy Sinton. No Andy Sinton.
Yeah, everything, wasn't it? Yeah, everything he said. Totally agree with it. Throw in the fact he had the movie star good looks and everything. And he got the ladies drooling over him, men drooling over him for different reasons.
Yeah.
But it was just the all-round superstar package, wasn't he? He's absolutely fantastic to watch. You could go to Spurs back in those days and, you know, get a disappointing result, but you still went home happy if you watched a Ginola banger going in.
Absolutely.
It's football. He is just football. That's what you dream of being as a player yourself. Yeah. And you realise you're not going to make it. He's just so good. He's far ahead of around it.
He's worth it.
He's worth it.
Absolutely.
He was just so good. And I mean, I've got his autobiography, of course, and I've read it a couple of times. And he talks in there about that it's always leveled at him that, oh, well, why didn't you ever play for a huge club? And he always points out, well, hang on, PSG at the time were a huge club. I think people forget that French football, it wasn't always got this kind of factor it's got now of being more of a, I hate to say it, but like a farmers league. But also that he was due to join Barcelona, and Kevin Keegan put a stop to it because he just sold Andy Cole, and he called Ginola in the office and said, I can't lose Cole. and you. I just can't do it. The fans would have me out. Anyway, he then came to Spurs. And guys, he won double player of the year. This is how good he was. He won double player of the year in a year where Spurs finished, I believe, 11th. Right? And in a year where Man United won the treble.
Yeah.
That's how bloody good David Ginola was. And I'll say it, since then, I've never seen a player more skillful than Ginola at Tottenham Hotspur. I loved Bale. Bale was brilliant. I still don't have the emotion watching Bale that I did when I watched Ginola. But look, those two were just class, weren't they? They were just absolutely sensational left-sided footballers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't knock it. Can't knock it.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay, guys, moving on to the last bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you on paper my 4 that I've picked, all right? And then I want you to let me know. Don't tell me who, but I want you to let me know if you've got those 4 or whether or not somebody's got somebody else. There's my 4. These are my 4 strikers. Kuva's laughing immediately. Is that because you've picked the same or you've gone different?
It's exactly the same.
Exactly the same, Ben?
Yeah.
I have not got Jurgen Klinsmann in my team because I didn't see him enough.
Blasphemy, Benjamin. Blasphemy.
It was a year before I was born, Savva.
No excuse.
Yeah. No excuse.
But three of them are absolute. The third one, because I just love him as a human being. Jermaine Defoe's got to be in there for me. Jermaine Defoe made my childhood. I loved Jermaine Defoe. I absolutely love that kid.
I would love Jermaine Defoe now. So, you spoke, Ben, about Spurs don't take shots outside the box. Jermaine Defoe didn't need a second invitation.
No, he didn't care. Bang, bang, bang. Shoot on sight, shoot on sight, shoot on sight. I love Jermaine Defoe. Every time I see him, I've met him a few because he lived in the area. He lived in Chigwell. He still lives in this area now. Like when Defoe actually goes into the shop next door to me, and every time he goes in there, I scream at them and say, "Why did you not send me Jermaine Defoe? I loved him. Why did you not send
him to me?"
Yes, that man was part of my childhood. The good days of supporting Tottenham was Jermaine Defoe and Keane up top, and then you had Keane and Berbatov, then you had Defoe and Berbatov. But Defoe was always in there for me. He was a stereotypical striker. Get the ball and put it in the back of the net. Just no second. I loved him. Absolutely loved him as a footballer.
Listen. I mean, Kuva, just a quick bit before we talk about the others. I mean, Jermaine Defoe for me was kind of a victim of when football came away from the 4-4-2. Jermaine Defoe's not your number. He's not your number 9 that's gonna bully, hold the ball up. For me, I think he played just in the right era. I think football changed just at the right time as far as Jermaine Defoe's concerned. But what Fox in the box, whenever he played, I remember, Kuva, when we signed him from West Ham, I remember being on cloud 9. I was like, yes, this is a goal scorer. What do you make of Defoe?
As Ben said, as a human being, straight away. Brilliant. What a fantastic bloke. All his charitable work and time he puts in with other people. As a footballer, you knew what he got with him. As Ben said also, you just get the ball anywhere near him, he's going to have a shot. It's definitely happening. He's the opportunist. He's always looking to play off the last defender. All he cares about in the game is getting his name on the score sheet. It kind of to the point where it's selfish, to the point where to other people you will say, well, you don't care about the team. But in his own way, that is caring about the team because it's his job to put it in the net. So he wants to score as many as possible, as often as possible. Can't fault him for that. Well, on his day, he was absolutely lethal. Finding shots in from any range, anywhere on the park, whether it was a tap in or smacking one from 30 yards on the speculation. And it do it. It regularly do it. You can't argue with those amounts of goals.
He was like a kid playing football. Getting the ball, I'm scoring. I'm going to get a goal. It's that child. I'm doing it.
Do you know what it is with him as well? You know, like nowadays where all these young players get sent on loan and they hardly get game time and they hardly score goals. If anyone remembers, when Jermaine Defoe was 17, West Ham, like Harry Redknapp, loaned him out to Bournemouth.
Mm-hmm.
And at the age of 17, Jermaine Defoe scored in 10 consecutive games for Bournemouth, right? 10 consecutive games.
Yeah.
Equaling John Aldridge's and Clary Jordan's post-war record. But this is the more important bit for me. He scored 18 goals in 29 league games for Bournemouth at the age of 17. And Harry said, I sent him out to Bournemouth to get some experience playing league football, and he's coped marvellously. To score 10 in 10 games is terrific. He's a bright lad full of confidence. Nothing knocks him. He's a typical goal scorer. If he misses, he'll be there the next time looking for a goal. He's a kid with a big future. And guys, he went on to have a magnificent football career. He's in the top 10 all-time goal scorers in the Premier League.
Yeah.
He scored 305 goals in his career.
Won a league title at Rangers. Won a league title at Rangers. Don't forget that. He won the league title at Rangers under Steven Gerrard.
Jermaine Defoe honours. He won the League Cup with Spurs in 07-08.
Yeah.
He won the Scottish Premiership with Rangers.
Yeah.
And he's won the Tottenham Player of the Year, Sunderland Player of the Year, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Anyway, I love him. I absolutely love him.
In actual fact, some ways, that Sunderland spell was possibly his finest hour for me, because that Sunderland team was absolutely dreadful.
Yeah.
He kept them in the league. He kept them in the division.
Yeah.
It was unreal.
Whilst looking after Bradley Lowry, rest in peace, he had the entire club on his shoulders as a human being, and as a footballer. He was just the guy.
And do you know what, Ben? In those 2 seasons when he was at Sunderland, he got 18 goals in 34 games in that first season, and then 17 in 40 in his second. So look, this boy scored goals. Scored goals. But look, let's move to I think the obvious one there, because of the most recency bias, is Harry Kane, right? I mean, I don't think anyone would pick and not put Kane in. I mean, Kane, just a wonderful, I think he's a great guy. He comes across brilliantly. But for me, Kuva, it was how he evolved. He was a pure goal scorer. And then as he got 26, 27 years of age, he started adding that kind of playmaking ability, but never dropping the level of goals he scored at the same time. He just morphed into a really well-rounded, brilliant, technical footballer, didn't he?
You know what? I kind of disagree with that. I saw it at an early age. I could see that all-round part of his game. Yeah, I saw a young Teddy Sheringham there.
Okay, well, I didn't see it that young, but fair enough.
I don't think he. I think what happened is the game developed and the club developed and the players around him developed to the point where it facilitated him being able to drop back more and actually do that role rather than just being the target man. So I kind of get what he's coming at, but I think he's always had that ability there, but it's just blossomed just through circumstance, through becoming the main man, because we just made some mistakes when signing forwards. Soldado didn't work out. Adebayor, obviously unpredictable about what sort of season he was going to have. Yeah, and Kane just came through at the right time with the right manager, flourished. But he's always had, it was always there. I'd argue it was the goal scoring bit that was the surprising part. We didn't think we were going to have somebody that hit this many. Yeah. I remember when he first got into the team starting and as the first team starter, I was saying if we got 15 goals out of him for the season and he does his hold up play, I think we've got a good player there. And he just smashed that. It was just, it was unbelievable. That's all we've got to say about Kane, though. His record speaks for itself.
He's got that ability, Kuva. There are not many players in world football that when they get an opportunity, you almost go, that's fine, it's him. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. There's a lot of players. There's a lot of players where you think they're going to get the opportunity, but there's not many in the world where you go, goal. This is going to be a goal. Harry Kane got that. Guys, by the way, we've got 11. I've got 11 minutes before I need to start work. But 11 minutes to go through these strikers and the managers. Yeah. Ben, if I can move on from Kane, if that's all right, Ben, unless you've got anything you really want to add on Harry Kane.
I mean, he's proof that Jose Mourinho was still one of the best coaches in the world. Yeah, you're doing this now.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I completely agree. I completely agree. And then the other three, I mean, Klinsmann, Sheringham, and Berbatov. When I look at this caliber of striker compared to the caliber of strikers I see in the Premier League now, Erling Haaland omitted, just the levels above, guys. Klinsmann was just phenomenal at what he did. Yeah. Sheringham was just this well-rounded, intelligent monster of a he kind of did the number 10 before it became fashionable, right? In terms of where he played. And Berbatov is one of the silkiest strikers I think I've ever seen. Yeah, and I'm going to say this before I hand over to you two. For me, I think Dimitar Berbatov's got the best first touch I think I've seen of any Premier League footballer. Not for Spurs, any. I think he was that good. Klinsmann, Sheringham, Berbatov, guys, wrap it all up.
Some brilliant strikers have played for Tottenham, and we've never won anything with them, except for Sheringham. We won the FA Cup with Sheringham, so it's another player that's won the FA Cup for Tottenham. Was he not in that team?
No, Gary Lineker.
Gary Lineker won the cup, yeah.
Well, at least he won a treble at Man United.
It was the old song, wasn't it? Old Teddy Teddy went to Man United.
Sheringham for me there is the one that I separate from the others. The others are at the pinnacle of footballing greats when they're playing that striker's role. Sheringham's role for me was a little bit different. He was could be that number 10. Yeah. He was the facilitator for the others. England had a great striking partnership, Sheringham and Shearer. Shearer, the out-and-out goal scorer, Sheringham with the intelligence to drop deep and make things happen. And he still scored a lot of goals. What a player. All four of them get into teams, even that. You could possibly argue Klinsmann might struggle the most now because Klinsmann was the out-and-out goal scorer rather than the all-round player that the other three could be.
Yeah, possibly.
But
for his era, he was.
But at his era, you talked about who's the best striker in the world. A lot of people would have said Klinsmann.
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, guys, I think the key thing for me here as well is when I look at Teddy Sheringham, who for me never gets the respect he deserves in football conversations in general, not just Spurs fans. Both Alan Shearer and Jurgen Klinsmann both said he was the best strike partner they played with. Yeah. Now, I don't know if you can get a higher accolade than Shearer and Klinsmann saying that. All of those players, Kane aside, all of those, Klinsmann, Sheringham, Berbatov, all won multiple trophies all across the world. And you know, Klinsmann won a World Cup, if I'm not wrong, with Germany. Teddy Sheringham won... You know, went to Man United and he won everything. Berbatov, the same, went to Man United and won everything. Just some amazing footballers. And this is why, forgive me, when I don't go losing my mind about players like Dominic Solanke, forgive me, I'm not knocking Dominic Solanke, but it's because I've grown up over the decades with these. And then even after this, guys, I've grown up with Robbie Keane, Les Ferdinand, Jermaine Defoe, even people like Freddie Canute, who I thought was a wonderful, technically gifted footballer. But guys, I want to move on to we've got 7 minutes. I want to move on to the managers. Now, I asked for you to give me 3 Spurs managers each. I don't want you to give me the order or you put them in, but I'm going to throw a curveball at the end. Ben, can you give me the 3 Spurs managers from the Premier League era that you've gone with?
Harry Redknapp, Martin Jol, Mauricio Pochettino.
Oh, is that what you've gone with, Kuva?
Yep.
Is that what you've gone with? You've all been levied. I went with these 3. I had to. I've got to. He won a bloody trophy, guys.
Yeah.
Well, don't see George Graham in that. Where's George Graham then?
Yeah, with George Graham.
Right,
yes, Savva. Flip flop. Flip flop.
Do your research, mate. You're looking to claim.
It's true. It's true. George, listen, George again. Yeah, God, we're going back. Do you know what?
George Graham was a better manager for Spurs than Juan de Ramos was.
Oh, all right. Hang on.
Graham and Ramos, and get rid of the others.
Yeah. Forget Football Heritage TV. It's Flip Flop Heritage TV.
Hang on. There you go. There you go. Save that. Let's put it up there. Graham and Ramos, the only two I need. George Graham and Juan de Ramos. But guys, isn't it funny though? On a serious note, isn't it funny that we all wax lyrical about, God, Yo did a great job. Pochettino got me believing in Spurs. Postecoglou plays great football. Redknapp, blah, blah, blah. These two won trophies in that era. These two are the most successful Spurs managers of the last 32 years. That's not an opinion, by the way. That's a fact, right? That's a fact on paper. Kuva's not going to agree with me. I can see.
Where's their Tiger Cup? Where's their Audi Cup?
Hang on. These people managed Spurs in an era when our friendlies in pre-season were against Watford and Millwall, not the Shanghai, whoever. But look, these two won trophies, right? And they don't get talked about. They never, ever get talked about, guys. And they've won trophies. Are we a little bit disrespectful to managers that have actually done what we're craving for now?
Yeah.
We are, aren't we?
Yeah.
Ramos not so much because he 2 points from 8 games. Any manager would get sacked from that. 2 points from 8 games.
Sure.
George Graham made us a great cup team, and if George Graham was able to, if Daniel Levy didn't sack George Graham and we were able to keep Sol Campbell, imagine George Graham with Sol Campbell and Ledley King at the back. That he would have won a title with those two. Like legitimately, we would have won every single game 1-0, and we would have won titles with George Graham as the manager, Ledley King and Sol Campbell at the back. I know it's if, buts, and maybes, but if he had those two,
I just find it funny.
We say that Sol Campbell and Ledley King under George Graham would have been better than Nigel Keown and Tony Adams under
Martin Keown and Tony Adams. Yeah.
Our league form was all over the place under him, but Ben's right. We were turned into a cup team. You genuinely thought we were going to win each season then.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think the interesting thing as well, just to give a little bit of credit to Juan de Ramos, Juan de Ramos...
Brilliant manager.
He was a brilliant manager before he came to Spurs. He won loads of trophies. He came to Spurs, won a trophy, then had Keane and Berbatov sold after that game. Not immediately after that game, but I mean after he won the cup. That summer, he had Keane and Berbatov sold. He's talked before about the player that he was told that Levy was going to get him in was Morientes. And I think the other one might have been, I want to say Hulk. I think it might have been Hulk or somebody else.
AVB wanted Hulk. AVB wanted Hulk.
Well, AVB.
Morientes was Hoddle's preferred player, wasn't he?
He was. But I remember, if you go back and look at the excerpts that Ramos talks about, he was saying that he had, and there was 2 or 3 other players from that team that left that summer. And then when we started the season, he had Modric, who had just joined, but at that time was seen more of a left-sided player. His strikers weren't Keane and Berbatov anymore.
Fraser Campbell and Darren Bent.
I felt for him. I did feel for him. He got proper levied. Yeah. I can't condone 2 points in 8 games, but he got proper Levy, left, and then Redknapp came, picked up the pieces and added in players like Palacios, Chorluka, Cranchard, Defoe, and he really changed it. But, guys, I'm going to ask you, of all the Spurs managers that we've had, if you could have a Spurs manager with that 25-man squad we've picked, which manager are you picking?
Harry Redknapp.
Harry Redknapp. Go on, Kuva.
If I was being asked what was my favourite manager over the time, it would have been Pochettino. But with those players available, got to be Redknapp.
You've both gone Redknapp, yeah?
Man
For me,
motivator. Putting that amount of talent with Harry Redknapp. Sit back and enjoy.
if that was our squad, I want none other than Jose Mourinho. I want no one other than Jose Mourinho who would win everything with that lot. He is a proven. On paper, Jose Mourinho's the greatest manager to ever manage Tottenham Hotspur. On paper.
He is. But football's not played on paper, Savva.
Of course it's not. Of course it's not. But if I said to you, which manager do you trust to go and win leagues, blah, 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 Jose's your man, right?
Him or Conte.
Yeah, but I'm going to go with pure unbridled bias and say get rid of Sol Campbell and get rid of Mourinho. Redknapp here needed won everything with that lot as well.
So, says the man that picked Sol Campbell in his 4-man defence.
Yes. Yeah. Flip-flop Heritage TV.
By the way, just a few names I wrote down here. I wrote this yesterday. We talked about a few of these. Just a few special mentions. People like Edinburgh. Jonathan Woodgate, I thought was a sensational centre-back. Just never fit. Wanyama, Dumitrescu, Popescu. Michael Dawson, I think, was a real... You knew what you were going to get, a real stalwart. Mickey Hazard played in the Premier League for us. It was at the back end of his career, but what a player. Canute, Keane, Defoe, Palacios, Choluka. I'm sure there's players we can add in there.
I'd add Lennon to that list as well. Lennon was a player that he got you off your seat. He got the ball when you got off your seat. He was exciting.
And my wild card player would have been Sandro.
Sandro, another one. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sandro.
I almost put Peter Crouch as my wild card. Peter Crouch or Aaron Lennon are my wild cards. I loved Peter Crouch at Spurs. Him and Van der Vaart was a joy to watch.
Stefan Freund is my wild card. Stefan Freund. I want him sitting in the number 6, just kicking everyone.
Work.
And never shooting. Never ever shooting. Do you remember? Do you remember the days of Freund?
Yeah.
Guys, last question I'm going to ask, and I really do need to wrap it up and start my day because it's just about to turn 9 a.m. So I need to start working. Guys, if you could pick from all of those players, one that's been the greatest Spurs player of the Premier League era, one. You're allowed to go for dinner with this person. He was the best player. You're going to spend time. Who is it of all of those footballers?
I'm going to go with Ledley King.
You told me last night Sol Campbell.
No.
He's a flip-flop. What do you expect?
He didn't. I didn't ask this question yesterday. All right, Ledley King. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Harry Kane because he's the record goal scorer.
Harry Kane. Okay. You know what I'm going for, don't you? You know what I'm going for.
You're going with Darridge.
Andy Sinton.
Andy Sinton. Listen, Andy Sinton, Rule Fox, David Kerslake, Clive Wilson, Chris Perry, Dean
Colin
Richard,
Calderwood. Colin Calderwood.
Gordon Jury.
Jamie O'Hara.
Clive Wilson wasn't that bad.
No, I wasn't saying it was bad. I was just naming players that have...
I'd actually love to see Savva go out to dinner with Jamie O'Hara. I think that'd be brilliant.
I think Jamie O'Hara's a laugh. I just never seen anyone that 1 week Spurs are crap and not winning anything. The next week, we're winning everything. And the way he dismisses people who phone into TalkSport, it just cracks me up. They'll go, Jamie, Chelsea haven't won in 5. Don't be stupid. They're brilliant. Like, he just says
Don't be stupid.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that. Savva and O'Hara.
I'd love it.
If you're watching this now, TalkSport, get that on a show.
Jamie O'Hara, here's a weekly invitation for a one-on-one show. Me and you each week. Jamie, come on.
or if he's not available, Razor Ruddock.
Razor Ruddock, good player. You knew what you were getting. You knew what you were getting. John Scales. I could be here forever. I could be here forever doing this. I can't end the show on John Scales, though. Like, surely there's got to be someone else. Jose Dominguez. I'm going to end the show on Jose Dominguez. Guys, thank you so much. Really enjoyed that. It makes a massive difference to always talking about Postecoglou and this team and Levy. Really good talk. So thanks, Ben. Thanks, Kuva. Please go and subscribe to the Calfee Company. I'll put the link in the chat. Please subscribe to the Free Spurs Boys. Please subscribe to me.
Tottenham on tour as well. Tottenham on tour.
Tottenham on tour. Yeah. And please, everybody remember, Savva loves Sol Campbell and Jose Mourinho.
And he hates Son Heung-min.
Is that the end of this show? All right,
Yes.
fair enough. Well, just to end on that, what a great day it's been. I've spent my first 2 hours of the morning with these two wonderful people. I woke up to a guest. I woke up to a message on YouTube, guys, as you saw, saying that I was a penis merchant. And what more could I want from life? So from this penis merchant to these two flip-flops, thank you to everyone who watched. Please like, please subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed your trip down memory lane. Take care, everyone. See you later.